It's no contest. Every day, people are injured or killed trying to beat a train at rail crossings. Trying to beat a train is more dangerous than you think. See Tracks, Think Train. For more safety tips and information, visit ctracksthinktrain.org.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the most informative source for progressive politics and news in the Twin Cities. Get involved online at am950radio.com, where you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, check out the local businesses that help make this content available, and stay up to date on the latest news and upcoming events. You can always reach us by email at comment@am950radio.com. That's comment@am950radio.com. Thanks for listening.
The St. Paul Art Collective is thrilled to announce the return of the St. Paul Art Crawl this spring. And new for 2023, the St. Paul Art Crawl will now span 4 weekends through May 7th. The St. Paul Art Crawl will feature different districts each weekend, so you will have more opportunities to see more artists and performances. The event will showcase the work of local artists from 10 distinct art districts in St. Paul. This year's crawl promises to be bigger and better than ever, with 26 different venues hosting hundreds of talented artists, live music, dance, and delicious local food. As the longest-running art crawl in the United States, the St. Paul Art Crawl is an iconic event for art lovers and collectors alike. You can explore the city's diverse neighborhoods and experience the unique creative visions of each artist. So wander the St. Paul Art Crawl and discover the wonder of it all. That's every weekend through May 7th. For more information about the Spring Art Crawl and how to donate, visit stpaulartcollective.org.
Consumer Reports published their 2023 Best Vehicles Report, and Toyotas from Rudy Luther Toyota dominate the list again. The Corolla Hybrid, the Corolla Cross, and the Camry all top their best value new cars categories. The Camry Hybrid, the Highlander Hybrid, the Corolla Hybrid, and RAV4 Prime all ranked as best green choices, and my personal favorite, the Toyota Sienna, also ranked in the top of its class. Toyotas are not only gorgeous, they're best buys. Test drive one today by going to Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Our station is located on a marsh, and we do our best not to disturb that environment. So I was thrilled to discover Natural Lawn. Their safer products and soil tests ensure that your lawn will be healthy, lush, and green. I don't even have to worry about bringing my furry friend to the station, thanks to the great care from Natural Lawn. I highly recommend Natural Lawn to keep your lawn beautiful, healthy, without compromising safety and sustainability. More at naturalawn.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Cloudy on Saturday with a high of 41, then cloudy Saturday night with a low of 28. Spring has arrived and it's time to take a good look at your lawn. If there are bare spots or brown patches, Natural Lawn can help. For over 30 years, Natural Lawn has taken an environmentally friendly approach to lawn care. Beat the summer rush and visit naturalawn.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Good morning, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host. And the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us in ways that get us thinking, get us talking, get us imagining, and perhaps inspired or challenged to do just a bit more because we've made the connection. Our topic today is celebrating Earth Day. Sometimes we think sustainability is a good practice, a to-do list, like it's something we can just do if we just add a few good habits. But real long-term sustainability is bigger than a to-do list. It's a way of thinking and being that will allow both our humanity and Earth to flourish, and we can make this happen, but it takes commitment. Today, I have Rick Bernardo co-hosting with me. Yes, he did all the prep and coordination for the show, so I want to do a big thank you for Rick for all the work that you were doing to make this happen.
Secret fleet of assistants, but don't tell anyone.
I won't tell anyone. So tell me about as you were preparing the show, what were some of your thoughts in getting this show ready today?
Well, I was aware, I've got many years of teaching ethics at a university, and I I always say, when we're thinking about right and wrong behavior, which is what ethics is about, context is everything. A child stealing a loaf of bread, from Nazis is different than Bernie Madoff, stealing millions from institutions trying to help children. It's a different kind of theft. Lying to Nazis is not always a bad thing. Lying about overthrowing the U.S. government recently, that's a different context. So what we're talking about for Earth Day and sustainability, it occurred to me as we're talking about how we create those contexts of context, how we create the systems, how we create the relationships, the collective behavior inside of which everything is going to happen. And I can't get much bigger than the planet Earth. I don't think we can determine the fate of the universe, but we can determine what happens with the planet. So that's a big context.
Yeah.
So that's what occurred to me.
Well, you've invited two great guests. We have Terry Gips, who is going to be sharing with us about the Alliance for Sustainability. We also have Frances LaPaix, and she is going to be representing not only the wonderful books that she writes, but the Small Planet Institute. Welcome to you both. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
And Frances, we're so
Thank you
glad
so much.
Thank you. In our first segment, we're going to do a little deeper dive into the Alliance for Sustainability. Terry's a nationally recognized sustainability leader. He's a business consultant, author, ecologist, agricultural economist. He's been a speaker for more than 50 years, and he has experience in global environmental leadership, policy, sustainability, development, business management, and consulting. And for all of us who just love Aveda products, he was also, and I am a purchaser of the Aveda, and I'm not getting anything from Aveda on that, did many years with that. And you also consulted for Jimmy Carter way back when. So you come with a real passion for the work that you do. So tell me a little bit about you helped actually you're a co-founder. So tell me how you got this started, this program.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm so thrilled that Frances Moore LaPaix is with us this morning, because she is sort of the seed that got planted and actually brought forth the Alliance, because I was at the Yale School of Management, and that's way back 1980, and I had gotten to know Frances Moore LaPaix, and she, in her books, which are phenomenal, in Diet for a Small Planet and Food First, she had actually made the point that we have enough food to feed everybody on the planet, but they're political and economic systems that stop people from getting the food they need. And I was talking with her, and I said, Frances, that's absolutely true. But the way we're growing the food is destroying the planet. So is it possible we could feed everybody on the planet without destroying it in the process? And she said, I don't know. Why don't you go find out? And that led me on a journey literally around the world for a year and a half to 45 countries to try to get the answer. And I got the answer. And the answer is yes, absolutely. And the various leaders that I met, we decided to join together, and we decided to create a nonprofit called the International Alliance for Sustainable Agriculture.
And that was about 40 years ago.
And that was 40 years ago. And who was it that we invited to be our opening speaker for the big event and do the green ribbon untying? Frances Moore LaPaix. So that was our beginning. And we really focused on sustainable and organic agriculture. We got the first organic standards passed in Minnesota, and protected groundwater legislation, and banned various pesticides. But perhaps our greatest accomplishment back then was in 1992 at the UN Earth Summit in Rio, where we were able to get all 179 countries attending the Earth Summit to adopt sustainable agriculture as a goal.
Wonderful.
And that was a huge, huge change. And it was after that that we decided to make a shift to, instead of focusing globally, which we had been doing, to focus on the United States and focus on overall sustainability. So we changed our name and we became the Alliance for Sustainability. And at our 20th anniversary, we invited Frances Moore LaPaix to come back, and we gave her the first Sustainability Award. So it's been really wonderful. And then just to come to more recent times in 2020, in the wake of the global pandemic and the murder of George Floyd, the climate crisis and threats to democracy, we really wanted to go back to our roots and look at, we had been working on resilient cities and communities, and we decided to expand, and we developed what we call our She Kindness campaign for sustainability, health, equity, and kindness.
And you lead that one.
Yes,
Well, getting back to
as a volunteer.
getting back to how you're defining sustainability as being
Yes.
ecologically sound, economically viable, socially just, and humane, embodying our highest values in terms of how we treat people, animals, and the planet.
Yes. And that was really one of the first definitions ever about what sustainability meant. And we still live by that and feel that it's a really powerful way to really understand what we need to do.
So, your big vision is to envision a healthy, just, equitable, thriving, kind, and peaceful world that works for everyone, fulfills fundamental needs, and realizes the greatest dreams of sustainability. I noticed in your website that you refer to Martin Luther King,
Yes.
especially with that idea of bringing diversity and a hope together of
Yeah.
building a world.
Yes, we feel that King has played such an instrumental role in our thinking on so many different levels about what's the possibilities. So, yes, his teachings and his example of being have just really been an inspiration for the Alliance.
You bring up Beloved Community, and that's my favorite book.
Yes.
Just an amazing, powerful. He had such insights about the economy,
Yes.
and what the challenges were in terms of the needs of bringing everyone together, and that the world is possible. It is
Yes.
possible to have, but it's a rethinking of how we govern ourselves, even.
Absolutely. And I think, it's interesting that I think King's economic message and his anti-war message were the things that got him most in trouble.
Yeah.
And I will just say, Frances Moore Lappé had been writing doing this great work about Diet for a Small Planet and Food First. But when she started talking about democracy and about the economic system, that's when controversy really began. So it's I think those are touchy subjects, and we feel at the Alliance it's really important to talk about them.
In his book on the Beloved Community, he talked about how we drink coffee, and it comes to us from South America. We have a kinship. We have these products that we bring together that create, through what we eat, a global kinship.
Yes. And, one of the things that I think that really stunned us when we were first founded, because we were founded by the Third World Institute at the University of Minnesota, which was an action group of maybe 30 of us that actually began the Nestle boycott in the Infant Formula Action Coalition. But we had read a book by David Weir and Mark Shapiro about the circle of poison, how pesticides that are banned for use in the United States are exported to developing countries, poisoning people, destroying the environment there, and coming right back into our food system here. So we are all connected.
Well, what occurs to me about what you're talking about, Terry, is the amazing combination of not only the moral values involved, like some obvious things like what would be right and wrong for people, obvious until recently in our history, I guess, but also what works, just what will work for people, what functions and what doesn't function. So it's just very practical as well.
Yes. That's the great thing about sustainability. Nobody has achieved sustainability. We're far from getting there, but it's a great North Star. It's sort of a vision of the kind of world that we would like to create. And as part of that, when we developed our She Kindness campaign for sustainability, health, equity, and kindness, one of the things that we looked at is where can we make a difference? So one of the three areas where we have programs is on policy, trying to support fundamental changes through public policy and campaigns. The second is with the school program, working with middle and high school students. So we have a phenomenal presentation to try to help students overcome all of this overwhelm and eco-anxiety that they feel, and empower them to take action in their lives and in their communities.
And give them hope.
And then the third area is with business. We really feel we need to transform the way we do business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure that the audience gets your website, afors.org. Again, that's afors.org. We'll be referring to that, but I also want to make sure that we say a couple things about Frances. You've been wonderful in being able to give a preview. Frances Moore-Lappé has authored 20 books, most focusing on themes of living democracy, including Diet for a Small Planet. In 2017, she co-authored with Adam Eichen, Daring Democracy, Igniting Power, Meeting and Connections for the America We Want. Frances has co-founded the Small Planet Institute and is the recipient of 20 honorary degrees and the Right Likelihood Award, often called the Alternative Nobel. So we will be doing a little deeper dive with Frances in our next segment, and I look forward to having our audience continue to join us as we look at what are the opportunities for hope in changing the way that we live and be and connect for the future, for sustainability and for beauty and kindness.
There really is no place like home. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Home Health. When you're faced with an illness or an injury, being able to stay at home and receive care is important. Our home health offers a wide range of services, including skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapies, aides, homemakers, in-home respite care, and 24/7 live-in care. We'll work closely with your primary care provider to come up with an individualized plan for you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the metro. Ryan is so excited about working with AM 950 and our listeners that he wants to help us grow.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. I was friends with Chad long before I started marketing with him. I was a bit skeptical of radio advertising before Chad convinced us to run ads. The advertising's been so successful, we want to help the station grow. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners of AM 950, and we all know how extremely important this radio station is to the community. To help AM 950 grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to follow, engage, share, and interact on the AM 950 social media platforms. Together, we can all work to ensure AM 950 continues to thrive and grow in our communities. We stand by our work with a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. For a free estimate or more information on our financing, call 612-333-SNAP or check us out online.
Hey, Cudahy, this is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. On our show, we talk about Native issues like treaties, protecting Mother Earth, and holding our elected officials accountable. Weekly correspondents like Dr. Stately, State Senator Mary Kunesh, Robert Lilligren, and Bob Blake update us with Native news that you won't hear anywhere else. Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Listen weeknights from 6 to 7 p.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Hi, I'm Scott Peterson with the Minnesota News Network, inviting you to join us this week for Minnesota Matters, a news, entertainment, and sports show covering everything that matters in the North Star State. Tune us in right here or at your convenience at minnesotanewsnetwork.com.
Listen to Minnesota Matters every weekend, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and Rick Bernardo is hosting with me today.
That's me. Still.
That's right. That's right. And we're celebrating Earth Day. And Earth Day over the years has perhaps taken on new meaning, new import. We know that we're in a crisis right now. We're in a place where we've been told that if we do not change the ways and practice better sustainability and live in a sustainable mindset, we could lose what we have. But my two guests today have a lot of hope and a lot of wonderful things for us to be thinking about to take it in a deeper way. It's not just a checkoff list. This is something that we can do powerfully to make the world a better place in many ways. Terry Gibbs joined us in the last segment to discuss the Alliance for Sustainability. And the Alliance for Sustainability is doing some amazing work. It was created about 40 years ago by visionaries from around the world with a mission to co-create sustainability on a personal, organizational, and planetary level. This organization was inspired, as we heard from Terry in our last segment, by Frances Moore Lappé. Frances had written books. She has been and continues to be an inspirational speaker, focusing on themes of living democracy, including Diet for a Small Planet. And in 2017, co-writing the Daring Democracy, Igniting Power, Meeting and Connection. Frances, thank you so much for joining us today.
My delight, my delight. Thank you.
And you have made a difference in so many people's lives in terms of rethinking what we mean and what we need to have in a sustainable world, starting with our diet. Way back when, with the first book. I understand that you're considered an American original. New York Magazine dubbed you the movement mother, while the Smithsonian described the book as one of the most influential political tracts of the times. Gourmet magazine named Lappé as one of the 25 people, from Thomas Jefferson to Julia Child, whose work has changed the way America eats.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I don't know that person. But,
well, and Frances, this is Rick. Just good to meet you. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Oh, Rick,
so,
thank you.
So you began the Small Planet Institute and believing that ideas have enormous power, and seeking to identify the core, the often unspoken assumptions, the background, the economic, the political, the psychological. Tell me how you came to some of those conclusions and why you feel so powerfully about them.
Well, I started with the question way back when, why are we together creating a world that none of us individually would choose? It makes no sense, because no one gets up in the morning and says, yes, I want to make another child starve, or yes, I want to heat the planet, or yes, I want to destroy our fresh water, or whatever, right? So that took me to this believing is seeing notion, but it took me to the power of ideas, that we see the world not as it is, but through culturally determined filters. And I wanted to explore that and to understand what is the dominant frame today that we absorb, that the idea that we are simply competitors in a marketplace, and whatever wins out, no matter how destructive, that it's legitimate because that was the market outcome. And so I wanted to challenge that in ways that were empowering. And what are the belief systems, such as this unquestioning belief in the market, that offer another way of seeing that every market has rules, every market has assumptions driving it, and we can still have a exchange marketplace, but we have to make sure the power is distributed and the decisions that govern the whether or not the market is resulting in a livable world. We as citizens have to be able to step up in a living democracy where the voice of our own values and needs are heard. So that's a long answer, but
no, it's a wonderful one. It seems to me that underlying a lot of that is the assumption that we do need to have a mutual accountability, and that mutual accountability isn't always deeply shared, and it's the how do we create the greater us in terms of accountability?
Yes, absolutely. I say that the three conditions of democracy are the wide dispersion of power, so we each have voice, and transparency in public affairs, and mutual accountability, as Rabbi Joshua Heschel said. Some are guilty, but all are responsible. So I like to say, yes, you can point
Right.
as much as you want, as long as you come full circle back to me, and that's how I see it. We're all responsible.
And Francis, I like that distinction between blame and responsibility. It's really useful. The other thing, the upshot of what you're saying here, in short, is if those conditions aren't in living action among us, it's not democratic. We're not really in a living democracy. We're in a more of a democracy in name in a lot of areas otherwise.
Yes, and I think it's very shocking for Americans to grasp that we don't rank among the distinguished institutions, one founded by Eleanor Roosevelt and another. We don't even rank near who we think are our peers in Europe, say. We rank close to 60th in the quality of our democracy. It's on the high 50s. So we're not even near our peers. And this is something that is very hard for Americans to
because we're so
deal with.
exceptional, right?
Yeah, we're so exceptional. And I'm trying to figure out a way to communicate this in a way that is hopeful, because I say to myself and in my writing sometimes, the worst would be if we were the best. Imagine that. If we were the best, true. And we know all our flaws.
It's hard
so
to.
It's really great that we're not the best.
It's hard to point to blind spots, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like if you have a blind spot, you don't even know you have it, because that's the definition.
But I think at a deeper level, we know that we can be our better selves.
Yeah.
So
We do.
whether or not we see where we're making our assumptions and we're stumbling over and sometimes choosing greed over what mutual accountability and mutual sustainability could bring forth. But how do we bring forth our better selves? I think that to me is one of the biggest challenges. And when we have a divided country as we do, how do we get through that to look at everyone has the right that we were founded on, mutual right and deservability, to have that life that you mentioned, you wake up and go, this is the life I want. Children children are happy, and we are able to be connected in positive ways, and we can create a better world. I mean, I think that that is not naive. It is doable.
And I love it that's what Terry and Alliance for Sustainability, the whole MO, if you will, of Terry, ever since I've known him, is very much on this, that we're not asking, go sacrifice and suffer.
Right.
We're saying, look, this is the better world that you can be part of. And we all want to feel that we are making a positive contribution. And here is a pathway to that. So it's invitational. We're not scolds, right?
Right.
As I say, and that's why I love Terry's work. And I want to say, Terry, that I have the award that they gave me years ago. I have it a place in my house where I see it almost every day.
All right.
There's mutual admiration, it looks like, between the two of you.
Indeed.
I noticed on going to your website that some of your biggest accomplishments, of course, are the books that you've written. You've released 10 books, including that Daring Democracy, Igniting Power.
Actually, it's 20. It's 20.
20. Okay. But you've contributed to many other books, and both you and Anna give hundreds of speeches. And I understand that you founded this with Anna, your daughter.
Yes. And my daughter and I also wrote a book together that changed our lives. The best thing I ever did, I think, in my work life was to travel the world with my daughter and write a book called Hope's Edge. It was her title, and I love it. We interviewed people, as she put it, that are pushing forward the edge of hope for the rest of us, so that we can see the hope that is so motivating. And so we traveled, to India, to Brazil, and to Africa, and told the stories of who is making the connection with the earth and thriving And it was life-changing.
Well, I would like to save that for our next segment. And I'd love to hear more about that journey and the journey for hope for all of us, what lessons we can take away and how we can be inspired ourselves and inspire others to make the commitment to a sustainable world. So I encourage the audience to stay with us. We'll be back after a few commercials and we'll have the opportunity to be in dialogue about what could our future look like and how can we make that happen? Stay with us.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. April is National Pet Month, and if you have furry, fluffy friends, you know they're not always careful about where they do their business. Plus, warmer weather is on the way, and that means they will be shedding that winter coat all over the carpets. But whether you're a pet owner or not, make sure to take advantage of Zero Res Showering April savings on you before the May flowers and the May Pet Fluff Showering on your carpets not far behind. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified from the Twin Cities #1 carpet cleaner starting at just $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning this month to take care of pet dander and last year's pollen and other irritants before this year's flowers bloom. That's 3 rooms of the best clean you can buy for $129 and $75 off your air duct cleaning. Call 952-ZERO-RES or book your appointment at ZeroResMinnesota.com today. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hi, everybody. This is Paul Metza, host of the Walnut Power Radio Hour, going on its 8th anniversary this year on AM 950. I want to tell you that I've got a great book out called Alphabet Jazz, Poetry, Prose, Stories, and Songs. It's writings I've done over the last 40 years. It's available on Amazon, or if you want to shop locally, go to the Electric Fetus, Crumpy's Bar Northeast, or High Fine Hair in Loring Park. I think you're going to enjoy it. Thanks so much.
This is Gregory Rich from Habitation Furnishing and Design and Drink in the Style. You may not realize it, but a trained, skilled interior designer can not just beautify your space, they can functionify it as well. I don't know if that's a word, but it is a thing. So why not check out habitationdesign.com and see if it looks like we're right for you. If it does, give us a call and let's schedule an appointment, in person or virtually, to make your home exceptional. habitationdesign.com. Have you heard about the District Edina? Well, if you haven't, you're in for a treat. The District Edina is the Twin Cities' newest and most exciting destination for all things home design and remodeling. If you're looking for flooring or window treatments, furnishings, a builder to handle a remodel or an addition, kitchen or bath work, or even original fine art, you will find it at the District Edina. The District Edina, 7777 Washington Avenue South, and online at, wait for it, thedistrictedina.com.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lulia. Cloudy on Saturday with a high of 41, then cloudy Saturday night with a low of 28. Gotcha Mama's Hot Barbecue offers the huge taste of selections like baby back ribs and pulled pork sandwiches out of a little place. Gotcha Mama's is located just a block west of I-35W off of West Diamond Lake Road in South Minneapolis. Visit their website at scotchamamas.com. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. And today is Earth Day. And 40, 50 years later, we're still struggling with some of the initial concepts about how to change the world and allow us to live in a much more sustainable way of living. And I think with that has also come a maturity in thinking through what does it mean to be sustainable. It isn't just a checklist. Bless you for going out and doing your recycling. That's great. But that's just one of many things that we need to be considerate of in terms of making our world a better place. Rick Bernardo is my co-host today.
That's still me.
Yes, and thank you again for bringing these great guests together for us today to share about sustainability.
I'm so grateful to be able to connect with them on Connections Radio.
There we go. Terry Gibbs, Alliance for Sustainability. And we have Frances Moore Lapay of the Small Planet Institute. If you've missed our show up until now, no worries. You can go back and you can go to our am950radio.com. And then you can check out our podcast. You just click on the connections icon. Terry, thank you for joining us about the Alliance for Sustainability, inspired by Frances. 40 years of really thinking through what could we do differently together with a vision of hope. And as we talk about hope, Frances Moore Lapay was just sharing with us at the end of her segment, our last segment, about the worldwide tour you did, that you came away also with hope. I'd love to have this segment be on what is our hope? What ways can we be inspired to really look at not just doing the recycling, but committing ourselves to a better world that allows us to flourish? I'm going to start with you, Frances, and because I did a cliffhanger with the audience saying that I'd love to hear some more of your story about the work that you did with Anna in preparing the book that you did together.
Mm-hmm. Well, we start with the understanding that hope is power. Hope is power in the sense that it motivates us. Power, the root meaning in Latin, is to be able. That we sense that we do have the capacity to act and act in a way that makes a difference. And so what was astounding for us is to go to, for example, to Kenya and meet the late Wangari Maathai, who organized the Green Belt movement after she saw the great devastation going on of deforestation in her country. And she said, no, we must stop that. And she started organizing women in villages to plant trees. And when we were with her, she introduced us to Reverend Timothy Njoya, who was an inspiration. He had been threatened with death by those who were fearful of his criticisms of the system and the government. And he told us a story about the assailants who came to his house and threatened him, and he responded with love toward them. And they then saved it. They did not kill him. They saved his life. And we said, wait a minute. Isn't fear just an automatic instinct and that you'd have no control over? And he said, no, it is pure energy. And that moment stayed with me forever, that we can take our fear of loss and turn it into positive action. We don't have to simply be reactive and self-protective. We can, I often say, when I get scared, in a public setting and my heart starts pounding, I say something kind of corny, but I say, hey, Frankie, that is your inner applause going off.
That's wonderful.
And
Pure,
that energy.
pure
Yes.
energy.
Yeah.
That's going to sink into my heart and stay there.
I love it, and it's changed my life. And so one of the theme songs of almost everything I write and speeches it is really about courage. And what is it that enables us to feel that we're not just victims, and we can be in courageous action and do what is scary. And I quote Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, do something every day that scares you.
Well, what I also love
courage.
about the idea of courage, and you had talked about the root of power. The root of courage, of course, is the French word coeur, to do
Yes,
with heart.
thank you.
So to be able to
Heart
do
pounding.
with heart, I think is really what pulls together the sense of hope.
Yes, it's all about emotions and how gratifying it is. And I also recognize that to be courageous, we are social creatures. So I say, look, find somebody more gutsy than you and hang out with them, and you'll become more gutsy yourself. So this buddy system, I think, is really important.
How we inspire one another is so key.
And in looking at your programs that you have, Terry, we talked a little bit about the She Kindness campaign. You have workshops. You've got a podcast that folks should know about and listen to. But when we think about the hope, you bring thought leadership. That's part of your goal with your alliance. Is that thought leadership to inspire, inform, empower, and engage citizens in aligning their behavior? How do you create that sense of hope in because change is always hard, and we're asking people to change how they think and what they can imagine?
It's a great question. And one of the things, I didn't know the answer to Frances Moore Lapay's question 40 years ago, or a little more than that. I didn't know what the answer was. And then I found it, just like she did, just like she found in talking with these various people around the world. That's what I found. These farmers that often were risking their lives to be able to support organic agriculture. And they were really making a difference, but they were also saving money, and they were getting even better yields in many cases.
So there was a business case.
There was definitely a business case for it. And I just sort of went, hey, we can do this. This is not hard. This is not bad. And one of the things that I've argued, I'm an agricultural economist, and one of the things that I've always argued is that if you had to pay the real price for things, conventional food would cost so much more than organic food. Nobody would buy conventional food if you have to pay for all the pollution and the health impacts. So I really have felt from that time on really hopeful about the planet. And I just have really wanted people to know that they can actually save money and have a better life and have the kind of world that, Frances Moore Lapay was talking about, that we can actually create that now. And maybe the other thing that I would just add is one of the transformational experiences of my life was when I went to Sweden. And I think this idea of having models and seeing other people who've done it. And what I witnessed in Sweden was extraordinary about how they literally turned things around. They went from a country that had the highest smoking rate in the world to the lowest, to actually implementing sustainability in business, in government, on all different levels. We can do the same thing. And it's just not that hard to do. And one of the tools that they shared with me was the work of Dr. Manfred Max-Neef, who also, like Frances Moore Lapay, got the Alternative Nobel Prize for his work in bottom-up, people-centered sustainable development. And what he showed is that he expands on the work of Maslow and takes it to a whole new level. And
So there's
points out-
something beyond actualization.
there is, but it's also more holistic because it includes
because that's just the individual instead of
exactly
the global.
It includes all of this and all of the other fundamental needs that we have for creativity, identity, meaning, creativity, participation, freedom, all of these transcendence, all of these other things we like to learn. These are all core. And where it really manifested for me was when 9/11 happened. Our entire country was in the question, like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? And people were asking, how can I make a difference? How can I contribute? That is our human nature.
And even during COVID, we did our time out.
Exactly.
What's
but
up?
but
Yeah.
what did our president ask us to do after 9/11? Go shopping. And every American knew that's not what they wanted to do. So the great news is people care deeply. But we've been brainwashed into thinking that we're consumers. In fact, we're citizens. And that's been the core
crux,
work of Frankie's work for all of these years, that we do care, that we do matter, and that we can actually create something along the lines of what we can envision. And we can do that now.
And what I'm also hearing from both of you is that it's through stories. It's
Yes.
through understanding stories and being moved by those stories that allow us to make those changes. And when we hear about the worldwide commitment, it gives us a sense of call to action for ourselves as well.
And the work of Terry Gibson, Frances Moore Lapay, is, I would say, deeply rooted in every wisdom and spiritual and working functional tradition in human history.
Absolutely. It's so clear that we've had these great, great guides for a long time, and we just need to listen to them and implement them. That's what they were calling us to do. And now we have that choice. We can make that choice.
And when I looked through your website, bringing the Swedish
Mhm.
full circle of your own inspiration, We've got you used a quote from Greta
Yes.
Thunberg. Right here, right now is where we can draw the line.
Yeah.
The world is waking up. The change is coming, whether you like it or not. Together and united, we are unstoppable. That to me is the hope as well, is that young person who's not so discouraged, although she gives plenty of discouraging remarks about how we need to wake up. But with that, that's that power, that's that courage and speaking truth to power that I think will help inspire change as well.
I totally agree. And we have young people, students from around the country that work with the Alliance. And I'm so inspired by their energy and their commitment and their passion. And we need to have those voices actually rise and listen to them and support what we want. And the great news is that making this big transition that we're talking about starts with simple steps that actually make your life better, will save your money, you save money, but also have you be healthier and have a better quality of life and meet your fundamental needs. This is not hard.
And in our next segment, I do need to make us go to our next segment, or at least go to commercials so that we can get into our next segment.
Okay.
We'll talk about those things. We'll talk about the things that we can do. And it's not just recycling. These are things that can make our life much more powerful and connected and globally aware of the difference that we can make. It's all about hope. It's all about making change. Stay with us. We'll be right back and hopefully inspired to do just a bit more because you've made the connection.
Hi, I'm Mary T. of the Mary T. family of companies. Our new Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care is a bold reimagining of what assisted living can be. Our emphasis is on creative meals, outdoor walking paths, and a spectrum of restorative therapies and activities. We are founded on a history of care. We are dedicated to enriching lives. Learn more about Camellia Rose Assisted Living and Memory Care by visiting marytinc.com.
Hey, it's Kelly from Edge Magazine. Ladies, it's time to break the silence surrounding sex and menopause. The Women's Press and Edge Magazine invite you to join our upcoming event, Let's Talk About Sex, Menopause, and Aging Bodies. It takes place this Saturday at the Women's Club of Minneapolis. We'll create a safe space for women to discuss everything related to sex, hormones, menopause, and beyond. It will be a fun day filled with expert speakers, fun swag bags, more than 25 vendor tables, and experimental sessions. Featured speakers include Gaia Discoli, a reporter from the Minnesota Women's Press, who will explore topics like sexuality after middle age. We'll also hear from Peter and Lindsay Hoskins about the art of self-love, dealing with isolation and aging, elder care options for the LGBTQ+ community, and more. So join us and discover the power of self-care with menopause in a safe and nurturing environment. That's this Saturday from 10 to 3 at the Women's Club of Minneapolis. More information at edgemagazine.net.
Next Chapter Booksellers is gearing up for an exciting spring with some big names on the event schedule. Over the next few weeks, they'll host Keith Ellison, Kat Howard, Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah, Samantha Irby, Luis Orea, and more. Mark your calendars for these can't-miss events and find the author's schedule at nextchapterbooksellers.com. And don't forget, with graduations, holidays, and birthdays coming up, Next Chapter Booksellers is full of great gift ideas like books, puzzles, and games. That's Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
With all the convenient big box stores that sell appliances, why do so many Minnesotans choose Warner Stellian? Check online to learn that Warner Stellian is a Minnesota family-owned business for over 60 years. Warner Stellian sells more brands than anyone else, and our passionate specialists are committed to impressing you so much that you'll refer us to everyone you know. That's our mission here at Warner Stellian. Ask around. Check us out online. And when it's your time to buy appliances, join over 300,000 Minnesota homeowners and choose the specialists, Warner Stellian.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we've been talking about Earth Day and sustainability being something way bigger than a to-do list. It's about a way of thinking and being that will allow our humanity and Earth to flourish. Hosting today with me has been Rick Bernardo, who also prepared bringing these guests in for the show. So thank you for that.
And what I love about our discussion so far today is it's so much about not always doing, but how we create, because we're at heart and in our guts and our being, we're creative beings, and we're really alive when that happens. So that's what we're talking about, how we can make that vision real.
And joining us today has been Terry Gips, who was a co-founder of the Alliance for Sustainability, and that website is afors.org. Thank you, Terry, for joining us today.
It's great to be with you.
And Frances Moore Lappé, she joins us representing the Small Planet Institute, as well as a noted author who has helped change the world in terms of thinking about how can we be together. Thank you, Frances Moore Lappé, for being with us today.
My great honor. Thank you.
Oh, been wonderful to have you here. I want to make sure that everyone knows about the fabulous 40th anniversary celebration, celebrating 40 years of sustainability and transforming our relationship with the earth and each other. Tell me about this, Terry Gips.
Yes, we are so excited. On May 18th, that's a Thursday night, we will be celebrating our 40th anniversary of the Alliance for Sustainability. And it'll be just a wonderful, uplifting evening that will bring in federal, state, and local leaders to speak, and great food from French Meadow Bakery and Cafe in Minneapolis.
Is that where it's going to take place?
That's where it will be,
Great.
yes. So great location. And then our featured speaker is Frances Moore Lappé. And we're going to have her have a chance.
Who would have thought?
Yes, really. We're going to have, this is sort of the completion.
So it's the 40th. So the 1st, the 20th, and the 40th.
Exactly. It's the completion of that cycle with her. And we're actually going to look at where was the world 40 years ago, and the impacts and the changes that have taken place because of people coming together and really making a difference. And then we're going to talk about where we are now. And we're going to unveil some exciting new plans for making a difference in our 40th anniversary year. And then we're going to talk about the next 40. Where do we want to go? What's our vision for what we want to create? So we'll hear from Frances talking about that. And then we're going to have some amazing music by dear friends, Larry Long, the Smithsonian Folkways recording artist, who's fabulous, as well as with Mary Harris, an award-winning actress and singer, songwriter. And so it's really, and then we're going to finish with a book signing with Frankie Lappé, which will be great. People can bring their books or buy books there, and a fabulous dessert social.
And we can just come, or do we need to pre-register?
Need to pre-register, and in fact, we only have 150 seats, and they are going fast. So please go to our website at afors.org. You can get all the details, and it's just going to be a wonderful evening. We'll be outside on the French Meadow patio. So it'll be beautiful May evening with Frankie and with all of these other guests. And then we're actually going to, have this great music and inside, and it'll be really a wonderful evening. And we have an early bird registration by May 25th. That's this Tuesday.
Yeah,
so you even get a discount. It's a great deal. It's only
May 25th.
May 25th. And
early bird.
Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. April 25th. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. April 25th is the early bird. That's this Tuesday. So get your tickets because we're going to sell out, and you're going to get a discount when you do it. $50 for all of this, to be able to have this great food and music and get to hear from Frances Moore Lappé and great connections.
Frances Moore Lappé, I want to make sure that I also promote your website, smallplanet.org. We only have a couple minutes, but do you have any last comments that you'd like to have in making this, when it was just starting at the 20-year and the 40-year mark? Any feelings about coming back now for the 40-year?
Well, I just love this opportunity to share the core shift of understanding that I've experienced, is that I've learned that I don't have to be an optimist. Maybe that's requiring too much of people right now. And all that's really required of us is that we see a sense of possibility.
Yeah.
And so I've come to call myself a possibilist.
I love that.
Our actions, it is possible, given that, that as German philosopher Hans-Peter Dürer said, there are no parts, only participants. Every act we make, every act we make ripples out. So we never know ultimately the impact of our choices, but we know they do have impact. So I like that idea that hope is power, and that I can remain a possibilist, therefore.
And that we can participate in this upcoming 40th anniversary, and at least be open to the possibilities of change. And in that, I believe we can start making that conversation happen with others. And if we can plant those seeds for conversation, for connections, for a better world, we've done a lot.
And let's go back to that pure energy. So how do we ride that? How do we navigate it as human beings? And this evening of the 40th anniversary will be an evening of energy.
Thank you both for all the work that you do to make our world a better place. Again, one more time, April 25th, and give us the website for folks to be able to register.
So early registration is this Tuesday, April 25th, and at afors.org, Alliance for Sustainability.
And today on Earth Day, make it a good day. Make it a day of hope and possibility. Thank you for joining.
Thanks.
Connections Radio Show here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Thank
On Saturday, April 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., join Seward Co-op for their 22nd annual Community-Supported Agricultural, or CSA Fair, plus a welcome party. Seward Community Co-op is dedicated to helping to build a food system that values inclusivity, environmental responsibility, equity, and access. Visit the CSA Fair to see these values in action and choose a CSA chair that is right for you and your household. There will be activities for kids, treats, prizes, and more. The event will also be celebrating Seward Co-op's new general manager, Ray Williams. In addition, Seward Co-op looks forward to offering community members a chance to engage in the future of the Creamery building by bringing them into the conversation about how the space can serve the community. Learn about a variety of different CSAs which offer
do the challenges, because I think
and that way you can outline from the program. Hey, you did a beautiful job, Francis. Thank you.
Oh.
Are you
Thank
there?
you.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you.
I'm here.
We were just talking about the possibility of doing another show after the 40th anniversary. Would you be up for that, to kind of share the highlights as well as what are some of the challenges?
Depending on the calendar.
Are you still with us, Francis?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to Terry.
No.
Well, it's hard to know.
So, yes, absolutely. You know, depending on, I haven't looked at it, but absolutely. This is what I live for. So
Yeah, gotcha.
I just love sharing with others, and